Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
I'm not sure if you're familiar with John Shannon, the Hall of Fame executive producer, Hockey Night in Canada, turned analyst in Canada. I think he wanted to submit me for a drug test that I had the Rangers missing the playoffs this year. Am I that out to lunch?
No, because of when you look at the other teams and you look in the past, it's so tight, so close. When you say missing the playoffs, they can miss the playoffs by 2 points. That's how close it is. And then you got to look at the team. You got to look at the other teams in comparison. And you look at like Pittsburgh. I believe Pittsburgh's going to make the playoffs. You know, they had Carlson. You look at the Devils. The Devils, my goodness, they eliminated the Rangers in the first round, so they got to deal with them. So there's going to be a lot of tight games. Now, having said that, and these close matches, goaltending plays a premium. And when you look at Ranger goaltending, I think, you know, there are two. Somebody added Jonathan Quick. Because of those two, I think Jonathan Quick will be able to win a few more games as a backup. So it's going to be close, going to be tight. But you saying they may not make the playoffs doesn't mean they're not going to have a good season. They're going to have a good season. They're going to be tough. They're going to be close like they were last year. Did they really improve? Well, that remains to be seen. They got a whole new coaching staff with Peter Laviolette, and he added Housley and Pekka. I don't know how much of a difference that's going to make.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show. Now,
Taylor writes in, he says, Roddy, why do you keep that microphone in front of your face? I find it a little distracting, but enjoy the show otherwise.
how about that?
I moved it because my chiropractor said, Rod, your neck is getting screwed because you're leaning over this microphone all the time. Can you prop it up? My chiropractor is very happy.
Oh, yeah.
You guys aren't. I don't know what to do. Been in radio for 30 years. I never worried about what it looked like.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yeah, hello, everybody. Are you seated comfortably? Now let's begin, because we're fired up. We're ready to go on a Football Friday. I've been waiting all week to do it. We're broadcasting from the South Florida studio. That's one half of the show here on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio. Hello, Ryan O Radio. I hope that voice is coming around. And Darren Moose DuPont joins us from the sweatpants capital of the world, Canada's football capital, Saskatchewan, Canada. Hello, Moose. Welcome to the program today. I want to tell everybody who our guests are. It's a busy one, so we got to get right to it. Jim Barker will join us from CFL and TSN. From the MarkCast in Seattle, our good friend Reid Johnson to talk all things football, but primarily the merger of the XFL, USFL, and mental coach Shayne McGowan, former Ottawa Rough Rider, USC Trojan. Mental coach Shayne McGowan is going to join us to talk some ball in hour two. And Moose, we don't have a lot of time with you in this segment. I will just say, here's the roadmap, everybody. Warm up here, as many topics as we can get to of the quick six. Jim Barker next, and then in hour two, we'll kick off with a full segment on NFL, Deal or No Deal, Week 3, and then more CFL stuff on a very big weekend there. So, hey, Darren, we got the football covered. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we got the football covered, but I know we're going to talk a lot of college and NFL, but off camera before the show, you were talking about high school football. What's going on with high school football down there in South Florida? Because it's got to be big.
Listen, I'm going to try to make this real quick. I'm glad you asked, but what's going on? Last night, Miami Central taking on Chaminade Madonna. It was on ESPN2. Listen, people, because I'm going on these Canadian shows, and they're asking me, Rod, what's the U.S. high school football situation down there? Everybody's playing tonight, but last night was the featured game. The number 4 and number 5 ranked team in all of America were to play last night in Miami Central High School. ESPN2 was set to broadcast it, Darren. There was a 2-hour weather delay. I didn't go down there. I actually went to bed. I'm like, they're not going to play this? It's high school football. No, they played it, and they were talking about it on the radio this morning. And Tom Herman was at the game, the coach of FAU. Mario Cristobal was there, the coach of the Miami Hurricanes. Every college scout. And I believe Chaminade Madonna won the football game. But I'm like, it's not, you don't understand. Like in Canada, a lot of high-level sports, they would go, it's raining too long. Let's just go home. No, we're playing the damn game. And it's on ESPN too. And during the weather, they had weather updates throughout the whole thing. On ESPN too. About what was going on in Miami. Here it was raining all night. I'm like, they'll never play it. And I'm glad that you asked because tonight I'm going to go to a game. My guy, Cardinal Gibbons, Matt DeBuck, they're playing down in Plantation against American Heritage. And I'm going to go wearing my CFL stuff that the CFL sent me. And people are going to be going nuts about it. Because everywhere I have a CFL backpack that I wear quite often, and people are always pawing at it. Oh, the CFL. What do you have to do with the CFL? What do you think about the CFL? Meetings of my club, people go nuts. I'll be wearing a bald cap tonight, and the people will be trying to rip it off my head in Plantation, Florida. The CFL is an effing big deal down here, Darren. But if I wore all that stuff around in Canada, people would think I was weird. I don't understand it. Is it because it's a football state? Or like it is a freaking big deal here. I'm not joking because they're watching the games on CBS Sports Network. Does that sound like an environment that you'd be interested in?
It's pretty awesome, pretty cool. I mean, look at these football players. They want to play pro ball, and the CFL is pro ball for them. And not many of them get to go play in the NFL. I mean, for the 1%, it's NFL or bust. I get it. For the top 1%. But for everybody else, that's real pro football where you can get paid to play ball pretty good for a living. That's pretty awesome. So I like that it has a great reputation in the U.S.
Well, I'm telling anybody, if you want, just come on down here, pay the bucks, and just spend a football weekend in the fall and just soak it up, and you would understand a little bit. It just isn't like, it's not even comparable to hockey in Canada. It's more. It's more. Way more, actually, which is very hard to believe. Can you hit the quick six show horn, please, Director Jordan? And then we'll go from there. Just to get through the sports topics, the Toronto Blue Jays ran into a hot Garrett Cole and fell short of a 3-game sweep of the New York Yankees with a 5-3 loss Thursday night. The Jays hold the second of 3 American League wildcard spots still, but they failed to gain ground on the idle Mariners and Rangers, whom they lead with a half game with 9 games to go in the regular season. It's getting tense there. Thursday Night Football, Moose, did you stay up for that? Christian McCaffrey scored a touchdown in his 12th straight game. Brock Purdy threw 2 touchdown passes, and the San Francisco 49ers won their 13th straight regular season game, 30-12 over the New York Giants. With the win, the Niners earned their second 3-0 start in the past 25 seasons. New York finished with only 150 yards offense total. Down here today, on the shows, they're talking about, do they overpay Daniel Jones in the offseason, the Giants? I'm like, it's a little late for that discussion, guys. But what was your take on Thursday Night Football?
Yeah, we got another taste of the 49ers, and they're absolutely a Super Bowl contender, maybe a Super Bowl favorite. They're one of the best teams in the league. And, you know, we talked about Lionel Messi yesterday and who touches him. When he plays, they win. Brock Purdy is kind of going down that path, Mr. Irrelevant. I mean, he's setting records for early starts of the career, you know, and not sure. Everybody says he's not going to be able to keep this up, and all he does every week is keep winning and keep throwing touchdown passes. So it's a wonderful story, and this is a very, very dangerous San Francisco team.
Spread was about 10.5 points. And they won by, we've established I'm bad at math, but they won by 18. And by the way, my guy, Chris Sanford, my buddy from the Bronx, he put a bet on that last night, his Giants. I'm like, come on, you going to give me 14 points? Chris, this isn't even fair. And he's like, no, straight up, I won again. I think he just likes going for chicken lunches. And I think he just likes going for lunch. And he's happy to, you know what I mean? So I'm happy to go. But pretty soon he's going to stop betting on the Giants. Hey, we do have hockey sponsors here on the program, so I wanted to say one hockey thing, and it's interesting. If the NHL, point 3, has its way, youth in Australia will soon be playing street hockey just like their counterparts across the pond. The NHL attempting to build on its first foray into the Southern Hemisphere with 2 preseason games with the LA Kings and Arizona Coyotes Saturday and Sunday in Melbourne are expanding their NHL street hockey program to Australia. The program is designed for children aged 6 to 16. The North American version has incorporated various aspects of previously successful NHL club programs in non-traditional hockey markets such as Las Vegas, Nashville, and Tampa, Florida. So Mark Black, the NHL's vice president of international operations, said in an interview he thinks that Australia is a viable long-term market. Hey, we're going to find out. We're going to find out this weekend. Serena's like, those poor Australians, they got to watch the Kings and Coyotes. I would just be happy to watch anybody if I was them. So I don't have a problem with who's playing over there. Your thoughts on this year's global deal for the NHL?
Yeah, you start by introducing hockey, and then they get to know the game, and then they get to know the players, and then you need to bring the stars over. I mean, everybody should know who Connor McDavid is, but do they really that far away? Are they really up on Connor McDavid and what's going on down there, and Austin Matthews and Leon Draisaitl? I don't think it needs to be the stars, but, L.A., Hollywood's coming. Phoenix, Arizona. I think those are cool. I think it's awesome. They can start playing street hockey. That's the right way. I don't know that you can expect them to start building hockey rinks in Sydney and Melbourne, but this is cool. I think it's fun, and for the players, that would be a really cool road trip.
Expansion, growing the game. If I talk any more about this, I'm going to get really angry, and I don't want to because I want to have fun on this Football Friday. But you know the story. I met with the Arizona Coyotes almost 10 years ago, and the NHL didn't have an outdoor street hockey program at the time. I pitched it to the Coyotes, and guess what their president said? No, it wasn't their president. It was their vice president of marketing. I'm not going to say his name, but he's like, dumb idea. Why? Why would we want a kid playing for the LA Pee Wee street hockey team, Kings, if he's growing up in Arizona? And I said, because he's not cheering for anybody now. So get him playing road hockey. Maybe they'll buy some tickets and come to the games. They'll naturally become Coyotes fans. No, dumb idea. The president of the Coyotes at the time, his name was Anthony LeBlanc. He's like, that's genius. He said there's a slush fund in the NHL office for game development. Maybe we can apply for a grant, which they ended up doing. But no, Rod's an idiot. I'm going to be long gone and dead, and they're going to say, that guy was a genius. Oh, it's too bad. He's been dead for 10 years.
When they say
our hockey
I'll come by with a chisel and I'll put it on your tombstone for you, okay?
The guy was a genius, but everybody thought he was crazy. Hockey coverage is brought to you by Common Crown Brewing in Calgary and Alberta. Head to the tap room Thursday through Saturday, noon to 8 p.m. Today's one of those days. They have their own bar there. Go down and check them out, or go to their website at commoncrownbrewing.ca. We're going to get into a lot more CFL with Jim Barker next, and then later on in hour 2. But there is a doubleheader tonight. We've been talking about these games all week. Ottawa, home to Saskatchewan. Red Blacks hoping to end a 7-game slide. And they say they're going to take their frustrations out on Saskatchewan, who's favored by 2 at Bet Regal. That's the first game. And then the second game is the BC Lions at Edmonton's Commonwealth Stadium. That was voted Canada's Game of the Week by our viewers. There was a fight in practice this week for Ottawa. Darren, you're the football guy in the house. How do you feel about practice fights, and what does it say about the Ottawa Red Blacks, if anything at all?
Well, there's two things. I mean, as a coach, sometimes you like it because the intensity is at an all-time high. And, if your guys are frustrated, then, take it out on the football field and let's go. But at the same time, it almost seems like, loose threads being unraveled, right? And this is a team that's coming apart at the seams. And, if you're having that dissension in the locker room, I don't like it. So it's up to Bob Dice, really, on how you spin this. You can turn this aggression on the field into a positive and say, look, I love that you're mad. I love that you guys are bubbling over here at the surface. But now we need to channel that into the Saskatchewan Roughriders together, and we can do something great. Or you can let this be the end of your season. You guys could all come undone and fight each other, and we'll lose every game the rest of the way. It's up to you in the locker room to figure out which way you want to go.
That's why we play the games. That's why we love watching the games. We'll find out what it means about the Ottawa Red Blacks tonight. Our CFL coverage is brought to you in part by Sober Carpenter, non-alcoholic craft beer. Check them out at sobercarpenter.com. Here's one for you. My club met last night at the Yard House. I don't know if you saw my stories. Also meeting was the Jewish community of South Palm Beach. They were on the other side of the club. We had our own side.
I thought maybe you joined a new club.
No, I know, right? I just took a picture of it. And then I lost my sunglasses in there. I'm like, I'm not even drinking anymore, and I'm losing my $500 sunglasses from Ray-Ban. But I found them. But the reason I bring this up was my buddy Gage leaned across the table. He's like, what do you think about Prime at Oregon Saturday? And I'm like, just so you all know, this is what they're talking about in America. Forget about the NFL for the most part. It's about Deion Prime Time Sanders. And I'm going to read this long before Prime Time came to Colorado. Oregon was the Pac-12 team that brought the hype, as I think we all know. With the Ducks' array of uniforms, state-of-the-art facilities, thanks to Nike co-founder Phil Knight, and a couple of big-name quarterbacks over the past decade, Oregon has often attracted the national spotlight. So it's no wonder number 10 Oregon isn't caught up in the hype surrounding the number 19 Buffaloes and Saturday's showdown in Oregon. That's not to say Oregon doesn't have respect for the Buffs. With 68 new scholarship players, the Buffs are 3-0 after the team won just one game all of last season. Ducks quarterback Bo Nix said, quote, "It's awesome. I don't know if I've ever seen it happen before. A complete turnaround of a program that's really hard to do in college football." So I'll put it to you. I'm not sure what the spread is yet. I'll check. I could do it here on my Bet Regal app. Colorado at Oregon. Did the Buffs go to 4-0? What do you think, Rob? Clearly, we're all going to be watching.
Yeah, this is the first, I think, real test. TCU is a real test. Top 25 team. They went to the national championship last year, but it wasn't the national championship runner-up, okay? And Max Duggan's not there, the new quarterback. But that put Colorado on the map. And with all due respect to Nebraska, who once was a powerhouse, and Colorado State, this is the first time that they're going to play a team that's firmly a top team in the country routinely year after year. Bo Nix is a top quarterback in NCAA football. I think Oregon, you're going to read the spread right away. I think Oregon is favored to win the game, should be favored to win the game, and this will be the toughest test for Prime, for Shedeur, for Colorado, and I don't know if they're going to come away with a win or not.
The question is not whether Oregon wins or not. The question is by how much. The spread is 21 points for the Ducks. They're the favorites. So I guess we'll be tuning in to find out if they win by 21 or more, or if an upset's possible. But you got to love the hype. And by the way, Canada West football, 2 games tonight. Sask, Huskies at Calgary. Alberta Golden Bears are at UBC. And Saturday, the Regina Rams are at the Bisons. Moose, we'll see you next hour, and we'll get into more of all of this.
See you then.
Can you believe we got through all of our Quick Six show topics here in this warm-up? That is unreal. I knew that it was going to be a great day. Jim Barker joins us next from the CFL on TSN. We're live on the Game Plus television network, also on the radio in Atlanta, WQEE, Apple, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
It's a football Friday. People love it. They really do. And on the text line, which is open 902-518-3033, you can always reach us here in the Florida studio. Bomber Boy, he's in Calgary. He writes in, he says, death, taxes, and Jim Barker's hot takes on the RP Football Friday show. Let's go. Ken is watching in Pennsylvania, and he says, although Mr. Barker is larger than life on the TSN panel, I bet in person off camera he's very humble and contemplative. I don't know about that. Let's bring him in, the star of the CFL on TSN panel. Jim, I've known you a long time. I would say you're exactly the same on TV as you are in real life. Agree or disagree?
I would agree with that. I pretty much am who I am. I don't change much, and it's part of what I think. I never will consider myself a media person. I just can't do it.
Yep.
I consider myself a coach, a person who's managed and things, who's giving a different perspective of the game and of the way you look at it and that type of thing. But no, I am who I am.
Yeah, hey, and we love it. That's why you're on there. And Dunnigan says the same thing. This is no substitute for coaching or playing. Dunnigan will say it, but you guys are on there because you do a great job. No offense taken, although you are a media guy. Kirk writes in from Toronto. Kirk says, could you ask, please, Jim Barker, if he still thinks the Argos are still going to win the Grey Cup? Some of us Argo fans are nervous with the possibility of meeting Hamilton in the Eastern Final. Thank you.
Well, I picked them at the beginning of the year. I was the only person on the panel that picked them to not only win the division, but win the Grey Cup. I still think they have a great shot. I mean, obviously, they've got 6 games to play. How they handle these 6 games is going to be crucial. Ryan Dinwiddie, since the beginning of last year when I was there, he handled this very much as a 1 week at a time deal. We're going to be 1-0 this week. We're going to be 1-0 this week. The problem comes in that, You get a guy, you want to give guys rests, and I think they'll be judicious in how they do that. So in terms of winning the Grey Cup, I absolutely am not backing down on my prediction. I do believe they have the best football team in the CFL. Their record proves it. You are what your record says you are, and this is an 11-1 football team. No Toronto Argonaut team in 140 years has ever been 11-1. So that speaks volumes. And again, it gets overshadowed. Trey Ford's story is huge in the CFL, and it's an exciting story. But to have a first-year quarterback take a team to an 11-1 record, which is basically the same team as last year, there are really no huge changes. Isaiah Cage is playing left tackle, but he's been in and out. And Trevon Tate, who played last year, is there. Obviously, Bladek is down, who was a high-priced player. He's been replaced by Darius Sirocco. But other than that, the offensive line's intact. The receiving core is basically the same. Cam Phillips has stepped in for Markeith Ambles, but the other pieces of it are the same. A.J. Ouellette started the season and not even on the team. He lost his spot for a bit, but then came on and proved what he can do toward the end of the season. But for the most part, the offense is the same. The defense is younger and faster, and that always gives you a chance when you get better on defense. And I think they did get better on defense. Again, they're going through some injury issues like everybody, and they have a chance now to be judicious in who they play. But I think they still have a long way to go to get to that point. They're just their consistency on both sides of the ball. I think on offense, there's times when they just seem to stymie themselves, and on defense, they get a lead and they sometimes fall back, or they fall behind, and now they say, okay, we got to play better, and they step up and do it. So in terms of complementary football, they've truly done that. When their special teams need to step up, they've stepped up. So again, I think they're the most complete team in the league right now, and I would not back down on my pick of them to win the Grey Cup.
Yeah, I don't know where to go with this because the big base of CFL fans are in Western Canada, but there's also millions of CFL fans in Eastern Canada that don't get the coverage. So we'll try and cover it all here in the time that we have with you. In Montreal and Hamilton, it's a battle for second place, and they don't feel like good teams. Yet their records aren't terrible. They have the same amount of wins as Sask. So what do you think of the Owls and Ticats?
Well, again, it's like this game, the game tomorrow, the first game, Montreal playing Calgary, is really interesting for Hamilton, who is the last game of the week, because you have Calgary who's behind them trying to get the crossover, and then you have them tied with Montreal. Obviously, I personally believe Hamilton is the better team right now than Montreal. Montreal has a lot of positive things going for it. Hamilton has, again, some question marks, but they're getting guys back, and I just believe that they're the better team. It's going to be interesting. I think they have a great opportunity tomorrow against the Argos. I think it's a great challenge for the Argos. A.J. Ouellette's not going to play. They're going to play Deontay McMahon in the backfield, who, again, he's a great little runner. But it's going to be his first time ever playing a real CFL game. And with some of the different kinds of things at Hamilton, I know Orlando Steinauer and Mark Washington, they'll have some things dialed up that will be difficult for the young running back. So I think they're going to keep Cam Phillips out another week, and Curly Gittins is out. So, again, you're trying to get a young quarterback in Chad Kelly, he's basically started 12 games, finished 11 of them, and won them all this year. You can't really ask a lot more of a young quarterback, but he needs to continue to grow. He needs to continue to see the kinds of things he's going to see in this game tomorrow with Hamilton. So I think it's a big game for Toronto, even though they don't need to win it. It's no big, but I think it's a big game just in terms of them moving forward in terms of themselves. For Hamilton, obviously, it's huge. Depending on what happens with Montreal and Calgary, either way, if Montreal was to win, then Hamilton needs to win to keep pace. And should Calgary win, Hamilton needs to win to keep that cushion for the so there's no crossover. So
yeah,
it's kind of an intriguing weekend in that sense. And then the games tonight are really interesting.
Yeah. Right. Well, every game's a playoff game. That's how I feel right now, the rest of the way. We're in the playoffs now, basically. And I welcome our viewers. There's a lot of questions about the Argos. You see what I said? There's millions of fans in Eastern Canada. They don't get the coverage. They come here because they want to talk about CFL football. So, again, I don't know where to go because we don't have a ton of time with you, Jim. But I'll say this. Edmonton winning in Sask last week created chaos in the Western Conference. Chaos. If Sask had won, they'd have pretty much locked down a spot.
Also with BC, with Ottawa finding a way, ever since I picked Ottawa on your show to come out and beat Hamilton after that 3-day prep run-in and the game was, I just figured this is Ottawa's up. Ever since then, I've lost all faith in them. And again, I think they have a great opportunity tonight against Sask. I think Sask is beat up. Their defensive line is not going to be what it is or what it's been. Cordy Moore's going to get a start. Blake is starting tonight, but like I said last week, I think as soon as you move him to tackle, if either one of those starting tackles for Saskatchewan, offensive tackles, were standouts, either counts. If either one of them were standouts, I'd say great, but neither one of them are. And Blake gives you so much ratio flexibility on defense where I think they need it. At this point, they're going to move Moncrief back to safety, and they're going to play a Canadian on the front, either Cordy Moore or Dabeyer, and then they're going to play Micah Tights. And I just think they could do so much by moving Blake in. And Evan Johnson has struggled. He has trouble getting his hands in, and people get into him and push him back into the quarterback. But I'm not sure the drop off there is as much as how good they could be on defense if they didn't have that that ratio issue that they're dealing with differently tonight, and it'll be interesting to watch. So that game's a very interesting one, Saskatchewan and Ottawa. I can't pick Ottawa ever again after that. And then after last week, that was, to me, it was one of the worst calls I've ever seen, trying to kick a 50-yard field goal when you're up by 10. It just puts you up by 13. It's still a 2-score game. Yeah, field goal could tie it. But I honestly, when he lined up for the field goal, I was really excited because one of the things that we used to always do with Don Matthews was we practiced the kicker kicking it out of bounds, like down inside the 10 or the 5. Nobody does that anymore, but it's much more accurate to kick the ball out of bounds than it is to punt it. Punting it, your ball goes into the end zone, all those things. Again, they could have punted it into the end zone. If it goes into the end zone, they end up they've got to score 2 touchdowns. Kicking the field goal just made 0 sense. Again, Lewis Ward had made a couple from 50, but that's not his forte. His forte is a 45 in, and anytime you miss a field goal in the CFL over 45 yards, you better. As a coach, I can tell you, because I've been through it, your fanny gets so tight, that ball's in the air, and then you see it fading, and you see that returner moving out, and I'm telling you, there is nothing worse than the feeling of your big fat guys running down, trying to tackle that little receiver, and oh my gosh, and it came to fruition for them last week. So that was a shame.
How about this?
BC Edmonton, how can you not talk about that? I mean, that's just, Trey Ford against a BC defensive line and defense that's fast. I don't think they're real physical. I don't think they're great against the run, but they are fairly fast, and that can help them with Trey Ford. But Trey Ford's been magic.
I was just going to say about Bobby Dice. He's been questioned all week long about that call, and I was on Ottawa radio this week talking about it. Coaches never admit that they made the wrong call. Ken Miller was like the only guy that would ever admit he made the wrong call in a situation. It's the way coaches are. Did you expect him to say, yeah, I blew it? You don't hear it very often.
No, because, the bottom line is the players in there have to believe he's going to make the right call. And, sometimes you make those kind of calls. I had one, my first game as the head coach in Calgary, where we're playing the defending Grey Cup champion Alouettes that I had coached with the year before. And we have a 3rd and 1 with it's in overtime, and we can either tie it and go into another overtime or go for it. And we went for it, and I took, Joe Sports, who, Colin Smith, who was just a good friend. He and I had a radio show there in 2004. He said when he passed away, he was on his bed, and he said, "Jim, that's the worst call I've ever seen in my entire life." And I to this day say, you know what? I would do it again. Obviously, there are calls you always think back and say, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But no, I'm not. And I'm not begrudging Bobby for making that call. That's a call you have to make. For me, I thought it was an awful call. And that's just my opinion, and I'm entitled to it. But again, Bob Dice has earned the right to be the head coach there. He's earned the right to make that decision, and that means you've earned the right to be scrutinized, which is what makes the CFL so great, because you and I can sit on here and we can scrutinize every single thing that's done.
Oh, yeah, and those coaches love it so much. Hey, Jim, we've reached the end of our time. I appreciate it. As always, enjoy the ball. We'll be watching. We'll catch up with you next week.
Thanks, Rod. Loved it.
The CFL on TSN's Jim Barker. By the way, Jim represented by EMJ Marketing. When we talk about EMJ Marketing, they'll provide the perfect keynote speaker for your event. That includes Jim. Look up Joe at emjmarketing.com. We're going stateside when we return to Seattle. Reid Johnson from the MarkCast will join us on this Football Friday, and it's always great talking to him. We're live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com. Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
From Paradise on a football Friday, 902-518-3033. The EMJ Marketing text line is open. Week 3 in the NFL, Week 4 in college football. We're going to get to all of those more so in hour 2 when the Moose rejoins. Always a pleasure to be joined by Reid Johnson. He is the host of America's premier CFL podcast. Loves to talk what he calls alternative leagues. What's going on, Reid? Looks like a beautiful day in the Pacific Northwest.
Rod, time is a flat circle here. We are talking mergers again, and when the Rocks, United Super Football League takes over North America, remember the CFL, you had your chance. We're moving on.
Oh, you woke up today choosing violence. Is that where we're going? So I'll say, hey, by the way, because you do host these XFL, CFL podcasts, dabbling in the USFL, you're not anti-NFL, though, are you? You're a Commanders fan.
I'm a left hand up, 2-0 here right now. We're going to go and beat Buffalo at home. Can't wait. All right, Buffalo's going to come in. We're going to win. Can't wait.
Okay, gotcha. So, you know why we had you on. The stories came out this week that the XFL and the USFL are going to merge, that we're days away from an announcement. They're further down the line. They're not just talking about talking, as people say. Your thoughts on this development?
Really kind of came out of nowhere, and that was the weird thing. And if you look at kind of the wording of it, when the CFL, when all of that started, it was, we're talking about growing the game together. And everybody went crazy, and they're merging, or they're joining forces. The report from Axios came out Tuesday. I was day 3 of filming this conference, driving in, I get a text. It says, XFL and USFL to merge. They've been meeting, the report's out. From Mike Mitchell, one of our XFL insiders, is these meetings have been going on since July. Very few people within both the XFL and the USFL kind of know what's going on. It seems like it's a kind of the select few up in the ivory tower. I mean, I know we have staff, player personnel, social media people watching our shows, talking to us, trying to figure out what's going on, because information is not widely available right now, even if you're within either of these 2 leagues.
Sure, but what does it mean?
It does. Well, it doesn't scream to me of outstanding success from either the USFL or the XFL last year. We know that the USFL publicly was on the record. Daryl Johnston saying they were disappointed in the growth that they had from year 1 to year 2, both in TV ratings and with attendance, and the markets moving into more hubs. Because remember, they play in select cities and they kind of have multiple teams in each of those hubs. XFL, there was a report out from Forbes. They lost $60 million, which has been refuted. If that's higher or lower than it should have been, obviously they're starting from scratch, where Fox has a lot of that. So it doesn't scream to me that either one was super joyous about how season 1 or 2 for the USFL ended up. And they said, hey, maybe we shouldn't be fighting with each other here. Like maybe this is too niche for kind of both of us to do this on our own.
Fair. Well, I follow all the coverage. I have not chimed in. I'm talking about social media here. But I love the people that say, can we now say 3 times failed XFL? Because I think you reported the name will change. So where are you on that? And is Arash doing a victory lap somewhere as we speak?
Yeah, if Arash learned how to tie his shoes at the state of the CFL press conference with Randy Ambrosie, maybe that would be a fresh start with that. No, I mean, it's weird to me that both of these leagues, Danny and The Rock spent the money to bring the XFL out of bankruptcy, bought off the debt. USFL, obviously, and we covered ad nauseum was it 2 summers ago, kind of going through all their trademark debacles and acquiring the trademark and getting sued from the old USFL. And we had Jim Earhart on our show, kind of the previous. He was, I guess, the president of that league back in the 80s when it folded. So it's weird to me that you would spend, the better part of 2-3 years doing all this on either side and then saying, yeah, we're just going to move on from that. I'm glad that we are not a brand-centric podcast title. I'm glad we have moved on from that. But I know that there's a lot of XFL, USFL-based, whatever websites, media that could be a little panicky right now.
Well, it's interesting. You say the CFL, you had your chance. I'm in your camp. I was in favor of a merger and got soundly trounced so badly, I moved to South Florida. So, yeah, I don't think the CFL wants to merge. So why they ever even brought it up, I've said it was to distract us from the fact they were canceling their season. And it worked.
100%.
Because the question, the elephant in the room is, why does spring football in America struggle? That's the question.
And I think they're hopefully trying to figure it out. I think they learned this year, XFL airing February through April, and then the USFL, they had to overlap April through July. A lot of football fatigue, both here in our household with my wife, and then I think just across America. I think that's a lot to ask of okay, you just got done with the Super Bowl. We're launching the next week. The teams aren't quite as good. You don't quite know the players. I mean, obviously, we're supporting all of these guys getting jobs and getting roles and all of this stuff. But it's a lot to ask. And then by the time you kind of get through the USFL season to July, you go, I'm really kind of done. I mean, we podcast every week covering all the games. We've had Andy on and Pat, and now we do our CFL coverage. I mean, I've been doing weekly recaps for alternate, including CFL on that since February. I mean, it's a lot. So I think, like I said, they figured maybe we can, as opposed to pointing the guns at each other, maybe we can, unify here that if we are truly in this, for the love of football, getting players opportunities, maybe we should do better by, positioning ourselves in a way that's going to increase our viewership for the players as well.
It's interesting. Evans watching in Brandon. He says, I got so much heat for being on the side of the CFL merger. He says, football fatigue is quitter talk. LOL. Nelson, our VP of Sim Events, says people need a break, and the CFL is the sweet spot to get people back into football watching shape. Maybe, Reid. But, I mean, I'm sitting here 40 miles north of Miami. There was a high school game last night on ESPN2. I don't know if you noticed. Miami Central versus Chaminade Madonna. It was on ESPN2. All the major college coaches were there. There's 20,000 people showing up for a 9 and under football game in Lake Worth. You can see why people would think they can't get enough of it. What's football fatigue? I've never heard of it.
To me, when the USFL came out last year and said they were disappointed with their growth from year 1 to year 2, I could very much tell them why that was that way. I don't know. I think that people come into this space and they think that maybe they know more, or, well, this has failed before and we're going to do something different and we're not going to make the same mistakes. But, we've been covering this for 4 years now. I can tell you what's going to work. I can tell you what's not. I can tell you why people were disappointed by season 2 of the USFL and season 1 of the XFL.
Yeah, for sure. One thing, though, on the merger, we feel that it's happening, but what I've also read is that not every team's going to survive. Do you know much about this?
Yeah, so they're reporting out, and again, this is via Mike Mitchell, kind of our insider, is it kind of, if you have stadiums in place, right, USFL, they had 4 hubs last year. They were in Canton, Ohio. They were in Detroit. They were in Memphis, and they were in Birmingham, Alabama. Those teams feel safe. They need to get a team in Canton. They're kind of playing a mishmash of teams there. And then the XFL teams, Vegas Vipers is already been chronicled online. Obviously, it was not a successful situation at Cashman Field, the former high school or whatever soccer stadium there. So they were already on the way out. It was officially already announced via XFL that they were moving to a new venue, wherever that was going to be. Sounds like the Vipers are out. Sounds like the Roughnecks based out of Texas are out because USFL already has a Houston Gamblers team. Even though it's never played in Houston, the idea would be that they would play at Rice Field there and take the place of that. Because, in my opinion, you can't have 7 XFL teams and 1 USFL team. I think you need to have a little bit more of a collaboration here. Mike's pointing 10 teams total, I think, is the number we've been hearing, but that changes every day. But currently, the understanding is 10 to 12 teams, which obviously is leaving a lot of fan bases upset.
And the league will be called what?
The joke that we've had was the National Spring Football League. That was the holding company that the Fox had last year when they were acquiring all the USFL trademarks. I think that's kind of jokey. I don't think the National Football League would allow a National Spring Football League, if you know anything about the Shield. But we don't know. I mean, we've always just joked and called it like the USXFL or whatever. But I don't know. Start trademarking your 3-letter, websites and domains and stuff. I don't know, but I do not think it's the National Spring Football League, but that has been circulated.
Well, this is great. Evan in Brandon writes that he says nothing but love for Reid. He's the GOAT for XFL, USFL coverage. James in Borden, Manitoba says, I wish the CFL would hire someone like Reid to help expand in the U.S. They don't want to expand into the United States. That's the point. That's the whole point. Yes?
Rod, at least you got a backpack and a hat. I saw your wonderful media package that you got sent. I've had Ambrose. He's been on the show 3 times, called himself a friend of the show. I can't even get a follow back from the CFL. That's how little they interact with me on Twitter. Weekly recaps here and 15,000 views for our Grey Cup show last year. Beat the league's Grey Cup show, but that's fine. We're good on our own.
But you had to point that out. Reid, you are an absolute gem. I appreciate you. Give my best to your wonderful wife and enjoy the ball this weekend.
Rod, I still have a Jordan Eberle Kraken bobblehead for you whenever I see you in person next. I have it reserved. We've talked about this before, but next time, I don't know if you're going to be in Hamilton. We'll be there, but next time I see you in person, I have that to hand because I want to give it to you face to face.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. We'll talk. Okay, Reid. Appreciate you, bro. Reid Johnson from Seattle from the MarkCast. We'll be right back. I got a lot of things to say, an audience takeover and a sports update, too. We're live on a Football Friday on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
As always, it's just big fun on a Football Friday coming to you from beautiful Boca Raton, Florida. Look it up. All our college teams are on the road this weekend. But that's okay. There's still plenty to do. Moose will be back in hour 2. Things are going to take an exciting upturn for us here. They were exciting as it was, but I'm going to tell you why I'm just tired of dealing with people's opinions. And if you thought I was outspoken before, hold on to your bingo cards, because I'm really going to let fly with it. For instance, saying on Twitter that global kickers and punters in the CFL are costing Canadian kickers their jobs. People are writing me to argue about that. Don't argue with me about it. It's happening. And I'm not the biggest union guy. Historically, I have not. But having said that, I'm not anti-union either. I probably should have been in a union for years. Would have saved me a hell of a lot of strife, mental abuse, and made me more money. So I'm not anti-union. But do not tell me that there's Canadian kickers and punters out of work right now. Don't tell me that's not the case, because the CFL's got Australian kickers or English kickers, because that's a fact. So don't argue with me on it. And I see people writing in about, oh, it's a trend. The NFL kickers are all coming from Australia. I don't care. Are we here to develop Australians? Is that what we're doing? Inclusivity? Then that's fine. Let's say that that's what we're doing then. And then others saying, well, just because there's that global kicker, it opens up a national spot somewhere else. I said, what I said was Canadian kickers and punters are out of work because of this. Where are you not picking up on that? Sports update, the Toronto Blue Jays open a 3-game series on the road against the Tampa Bay Rays tonight. Toronto currently holds the second of 3 American League wildcard spots and is a half game up on the Mariners and Rangers. Dallas Cowboys corner Trayvon Diggs tore the ACL in his left knee in a practice Thursday, a major setback for a defense off to a great start in 2023. He's tied for the NFL lead in interceptions with 18 since coming in 2020. But you know what? The Dolphins are 2-0 without Jalen Ramsey. I think the Cowboys should be okay, but he's the best in the NFL. Hey, scoreboard tonight. What do we got? I got to mention, in the dub, because I'm such a junior hockey fan, Regina at Brandon, Medicine Hat at Calgary, Swift Current at Lethbridge, Moose Jaw at PA, Edmonton at Red Deer, Spokane at Kamloops, Tri-City at PG, Victoria at Vancouver, Portland at Wenatchee. If you're around any of those games, buy a ticket. We're brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company. They have the perfect craft beer for your enjoyment. Check out the tap room today, noon till 8. Hour 2 is on deck right after this brief pause.
capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Reid Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
No! Taylor writes in, he says, Roddy, why do you keep that microphone in front of your face? I find it a little distracting, but enjoy the show otherwise.
How about that?
I moved it because my chiropractor said, Rod, your neck is getting screwed because you're leaning over this microphone all the time. Can you prop it up? My chiropractor is very happy.
Oh, yeah.
You guys aren't. I don't know what to do. Been in radio for 30 years. I never worried about what it looked like.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Hour 2 of the RP Show, coming at you live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and YouTube Live. I'm here in beautiful and sunny and warm Boca Raton, Florida. Darren Moose Dupont is in the NHL's Bermuda Triangle joining us today. We're excited on a Football Friday. And by the way, we do have some CFL players watching today, Darren. They have messaged me by name. They play for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and they are at Ottawa tonight, kicking off our Friday night doubleheader in Week 16 in the CFL. So thanks for tuning in, boys. I've picked them to win and cover the spread of 2 points at Ottawa. I'm pretty sure you went with that too, did you not, Darren?
I'm going to be honest. I went with Ottawa when we did Deal or No Deal.
Wow.
Yesterday, I did.
Yeah, I couldn't remember.
I thought they were close, and it's just that the Riders haven't played as well on the road. But they're watching. This is a great chance to buck that trend and prove me wrong.
You betcha. There's your motivation. You're welcome. By the way, a road map. I used to do this on my old radio show. I don't know why I stopped doing it here. I should be doing a road map more with the show so people know what we're going to do. This whole segment's going to be dedicated to the National Football League and Deal or No Deal. The next segment will probably be CFL. And then in the third segment of this hour, Shayne McGowan will be joining us. He's a mental strength coach, former USC, Southern California linebacker, and linebacker with the Ottawa Rough Riders of the CFL. Just from the audience, Allie in Texas checks in and says, "Hey, Moose." She just gives you a wave. And I can't, I appreciate everybody writing in. I can't get to all their comments. There's just too many today, as we've welcomed 2 million new homes on Shaw Rogers Channel 230. It was a big deal. It's a very big deal. I think we're now in over 4 million homes across Canada here on Game Plus Television. And here's a good segue. Bomber Boy in Calgary writes in on the EMJ Marketing text line 902-518-33 and 33 and says Tier 1 NFL, Tier 2 CFL, Tier 3 USFL and XFL. And quite frankly, I don't think anybody's going to argue with that, but we would be committing Harry Carey suicide if we didn't talk about the National Football League, and we probably should talk about it more. And it was interesting, Darren, when I was on Edmonton Sports Radio, was it last week or 2 weeks ago on the Kevin Carrier show? It was last week. They said, Rod, you're big into betting. We're not, but blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I'm not really into it. I mean, we talk about it on this show. I don't really bet other than a playoff draft. But we are going to play Deal or No Deal here for our exclusive betting partner, Bet Regal, for the NFL. And by the way, sign up and start playing this weekend at betregal.net. How many wagers do you make, Darren? I know you're in fantasy leagues, but do you get into the parlays and things like that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And the parlay hit last weekend. Here was the parlay that hit last weekend. It was all to score a touchdown, and the bettors understand it was plus 1,200 were the odds. So it was Travis Kelce coming back to score a touchdown. Derrick Henry scores a touchdown. Devontae Adams and Saquon Barkley all had to score a touchdown for the bet to hit. And it was a $5 bet on the free play site, and it turned into $65. So those ones I think are fun. I play for a couple of bucks here and there. You won't see me making $100 bets or $25 bets. It's in the single-digit dollars, $5 here and there. That's what I do.
I think that's the point that people need to realize that aren't into betting. You don't need to be betting $1,000 a game. But
that's right.
What it's done for the NFL is things like this. Because of what we're about to go through here, you'll find out who the games are, because you might not have already known, given the demographic of our audience. And we'll just throw the fun little betting thing in. For instance, the New England Patriots are at the New York Jets on Sunday, and the Patriots are favored on the road by 2.5 points. I learned today by listening to Joe Rosemoose that do I have this? I must. The Patriots have beaten the Jets 14 straight games. 14 straight games. New England has beaten the New York Jets, and they're favored to do it again by 2.5 points. Deal or no deal?
You got a deal. Yeah, it's going to be 15 straight games for the Patriots after tomorrow or after Sunday.
I'll take the deal, too. Somebody asked last week who historically is ahead all time in Deal or No Deal, you or me. And I don't even need to look it up. You're miles ahead of me. And I don't mind saying it. New Orleans at Green Bay. The Packers are favored by just 1.5 points. Deal or no deal?
I'll take... no deal, actually. I'm leaning towards New Orleans. They're better than people think.
Wow, I'm taking the deal. The Buffalo Bills at the Washington Commanders. We talked about it a little last hour with Reid Johnson from the MarkCast. The Bills favored by 6 at the 2-0 Commanders. Deal or no deal?
I'll take the deal. But that's a tough one. The Bills are trending the right way, and Josh Allen is flexing right now.
Okay, fair. I just like what the Commanders got going. I'm going to say no deal. Show you what new ownership can do to spruce things up around the place. Indianapolis Colts at the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are favored by 8. Do I need to ask? I assume you're taking that deal. No, why not?
That's right. I know I'm taking the deal.
It?
You don't need to ask. Yeah, the no was you don't need to ask. I'm taking the deal. Gardner Minshew's not winning for New England or for Indy.
Yeah, no, I'm taking. He scared me there for a second. You're the kind of guy that goes to an auction and is just sitting there scratching your eyebrow. You're like, no, I didn't. No.
All of a sudden,
Keep your hands
sold
in your lap.
$10,000.
Yeah, I sold. Tennessee at Cleveland. The Browns are favored by 3.5.
No deal. I got to stick with my Titans. I got to ride with the defense.
You find it tough to bet on your own team?
Very, extremely. I never do outside of this.
I'm taking the deal. Browns to win. Sorry. How about those dirty birds? The Atlanta Falcons, 2-0, one of 7 2-0 teams because San Fran went to 3-0 last night. They're at Detroit. The Lions favored by 3.5 at home over the Falcons. Deal or no deal?
I like that deal. I like Atlanta, what they're doing, but I really like Jared Goff and Dan Campbell in Detroit.
Okay, I'm going to say no deal. We're going in there, right, Ryan Radio, and we're going to have our way with the Detroit Lions. Houston at Jacksonville. I'm surprised the line isn't a little more than 8.5 Jags at home. Deal or no deal?
I'll still take the Jaguars. I'll take the Jaguars and a deal there.
Me too, 8.5 points. The Denver Broncos at the Miami Dolphins here on Sunday at Hard Rock Stadium. Dolphins favored by 6.5. You listen to local radio, they've already got their Super Bowl rings sized up. Deal or no deal under Sean Payton's 0-2 Broncos, right? Yeah. Deal or no deal?
Too early to size the rings, but you'll win this week. So I'll take the Dolphins.
Okay. Deal. How about those Minnesota Vikings, the worst run offense in the National Football League? Made a trade this week to figure that out. Maybe they should have kept Dalvin Cook. What do you think? They got the Chargers in town. L.A. Chargers at Minnesota. Vikings favored by a point. Deal or no deal?
Both these teams badly need to win. That's why it's almost a pick'em game. I'm going to roll with the Vikings, and that's going to be trouble for Brandon Staley, the head coach of the Chargers.
Deal here, too. The Carolina Panthers minus Bryce Young, from what I understand, going into Seattle. Sea Chickens favored by 5.5. Deal or no deal?
Got a deal there, too. I'll take Seattle to cover with the points.
Yeah, I got it, too. Second time, or was it it was the first time I ever saw the Dallas Cowboys live, was in Arizona. And they're doing it here. I'll never forget, I was standing with my good friend Derek Duke Myers, who passed away with cancer last spring, as you all know. And it's like 3 times in the last little bit I meant to pick up my phone to text him. It's a crappy feeling when you lose somebody you love. The Dallas Cowboys, I'll never forget, we were standing on the concourse at whatever they were calling it at the time, University of Phoenix Stadium. Cowboys were on the road, Darren, just to reiterate. And the public address announcer says, for warm-up, this is 90 minutes before the game. Ladies and gentlemen, the Dallas Cowboys. In Arizona. The place goes nuts. My knees buckled. It was awesome. And I'm sure the same thing will happen in Glendale on Sunday. Cowboys are favored by 12.5 at Cardinals. Deal or no deal?
No deal. I think Dallas is the best team in football, but I think the Cardinals will find a way to keep it close. I'm impressed by, they've been losing, but better than people think.
So you're saying no deal?
No deal.
I'm taking the deal. How much do you think the injury to Trayvon Diggs, who had an interception just last week, will hurt the Dallas Cowboys?
Big time. I think it's a big issue. Not one they can't overcome, though. They can overcome it, but that one really hurts. And I bet you, and I haven't looked, but I bet you the Super Bowl odds have changed to reflect that injury. That one really sucks for Cowboys fans.
Yeah, well, I said last hour, the Dolphins are 2-0 without Jalen Ramsey. So they feel like it can be done. By the way, thank you, Bomber Boy in Calgary, for pointing out that it is 11:11 Mountain and 1:11 Eastern. So when you see those signs, pay attention to what your thoughts are. You're on the right track. I'm sure they're paying attention in the Millennium Falcon. The Chicago Bears are at the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are favored by 12.5 at Arrowhead. Deal or no deal?
Oh, these big spreads, they get me, but I like the Chiefs to run it up a little bit. I think they'll win plus 12.5.
How did have you seen the coverage about Justin Fields, the coach of the Bears, being criticized for his robotic play, lack of creativity, and he pointed the finger at the coaches. Have you seen any coverage on it? Because they've been only talking about it for 4 straight days here.
There's a lot of issues, in Chicago. We're talking about FBI raids of coaches' houses. Your defensive coordinators resigned. Justin Fields is in the media apologizing for his play. You traded the number 1 overall pick, which ended up being Bryce Young, to back Justin Fields and bring in Moore, the receiver. And you're only throwing the ball at him 2 or 3 times a game. There's a lot of issues right now in Chicago.
Well, the topic this morning on one of the ESPN shows was, are the Bears' problems Justin Fields' fault or the Bears' fault? Well, let me check. Did they have problems before Justin Fields showed up? The answer is yes. He's not the problem, but they're going to point. That's why they make all the money, Darren.
Yes.
Pittsburgh at Las Vegas. The Raiders are favored by 2.5 points. Deal or no deal?
No deal for me. I think Pittsburgh's defense is good enough to win them some games and good enough to win them this one.
You really love Mike Tomlin, don't you?
I'm a big fan of Mike Tomlin. I am, yes.
And Monday night, actually thought about, pay attention to this for a sec. This is how my life has changed. Better for sure, but certainly different. And you know that. The Philadelphia Eagles are at Tampa Bay. I actually thought about going to that game on Monday Night Football. The Eagles are favored by 5, which I'll incidentally say deal or no deal on that one. First.
I'm going to take the deal.
Okay. I won't.
I'm loving what Baker's
Mayfield.
done. Yeah.
Right.
He is definitely not getting enough credit, Baker Mayfield.
Never will. But, by the way, I cheer for players, not teams. That's what makes me different. And I'll get to your comments in a moment, Allie, but I thought about jumping in the car and driving to Tampa to watch the game. But it's like 3.5 hours. It's over on the other coast of Florida. And people where we're from would go, well, what do you drive to Brandon? It's 3.5 hours. You drive to PA, it's 3.5 hours to go to a game, right? You drive to North Battleford, it's 3.5 hours. I get to those arenas, parked 20 feet from the front door, and within 30 steps, I'm in my seat at those arenas. Here, you're driving 3.5 hours, then you're parking 1.5 miles from the stadium, which in Tampa Bay would be in the parking lot of George Steinbrenner Stadium, where the AAA team plays for the Yankees, or one of the minor league teams for the Yankees plays there. And then you're fighting your way through all the drunk idiots and all the tailgating and all the rest. It's an absolute gong show. It's not just, and then ripping back after the game. You know, as you know what it's like. Yeah, enjoy.
Hour to get out of the stadium parking lot.
Driving back from PA down that number 6, I might see 3 cars in the middle of the night, depending on what night it is.
Yeah.
And, of course, you put your foot on it, and you're going to get a ticket going through Raymore. Is it Raymore? Southie.
Yeah.
Southie.
Southie's worse than Raymore.
Here, everybody's speeding. And can I say something about the cops? They're not sitting there handing out tickets because they're out solving crime. I feel like in Canada, they're bored. And that's why they're handing out tickets all the time. They got nothing else to do. Okay, I'm opening it up. I'm opening it up to open line when we come back on any and all topics. Because we've covered all the leagues. If you've noticed, Darren, NFL, CFL, college, Canada, we've done it all. So the rest of the way, not like that wasn't fun, but we're going to have even more fun when we come back on this Football Friday live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, the RP Show continues on this Football Friday. Collectors register for the Premier Sports Card Convention, where collectors, enthusiasts, and sports lovers unite to celebrate the beauty and value of their treasured items. Taking place in Red Deer, Alberta, in the Parkland Pavilion, September 29th, 30th, and October 1st. Get your tickets and more information at premiersportscardcon.ca. We all, I think, love our memorabilia, whatever it may be, autographed items, cards, you name it. Just do us a favor and support our sponsors, because they came to us to get their word out. premiersportscardcon.ca, coming up in just over a week's time in Red Deer. Check them out. Darren Moose DuPont is with us, and I'm here. He's there. We're talking football on a Football Friday. It's always a lot of fun. I hope this comes up when I open. Yeah. Here's the very first thing. About America, I think it's because of where I am. You know way more about geo-tagging, blah, 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 than I do. But I just opened my phone is the first thing I saw. Like, you cannot get away from Deion Sanders in America right now. And forget about the NFL. And I don't really understand what it's going to take in the CFL. Like, here's my point. And it's odd for me because we're on in all these different regions. The Panthers just asked me the other day, where does your show air? What's that clip or that meme or whatever with Matthew McConaughey when he's like, it's a little of this, it's a little pixie dust, it's a little of that, it's a little there. You know what I mean? We're on the radio in Atlanta. We're on national TV in Canada. We're on 31 U.S. states. We're on Apple Podcasts, YouTube. We're everywhere, you know? I'm like, I don't know what this... So we're just going to talk about what I like because people seem to like it. I'm getting to a point I will eventually land the plane. But I'm sitting here, Darren, trying like heck to talk a lot of CFL football because I love it so much. But last week when we talked about the Calgary Stampeders with Jim Barker and why they're 4-9, he had what I thought was a very eloquent answer. And he goes, when he took over the GM role in Calgary with the Stampeders, it's taken away from his coaching. There's not enough time in the day. There was like zero reaction on that. I mean, zero. So you want to tell me, Calgary football fans, pick up the phone, 902-518-3033. Don't call, but you can text us. I would talk about it more, but you just don't seem that interested. Even at 0-9, more people in Edmonton cared about the Elks than care about the Stampeders in Calgary. I'd like to talk about it, but what, you think I'm an idiot? Why would I? And why is that, do you think?
I know. There's so many things. I mean, at the end of the day, it's what we talk about with Dion. It's just hype. And it's a reason why, the why, they're winning and that's great. But why do I care that they're winning? Why does it matter? Why does it matter that they're 4-9? And you got to draw a connection and have some emotional attachment. And there's all these different pieces to it. And it's something that needs to be a focus. So with Dion, I've learned a lot about how he does what he does. And I've been paying attention and I've been looking into it. It's not just Dion. He's not just running the social. He's got one of his kids that's shooting video, but he also has a wonderful woman that's running the business of Prime and the PR of it. And a lot of it is mixing in with his personality and everything else. Like, you need to work at it. You need to put your focus on it. And if you do, good things can happen. So there's a lot of great personalities across the Canadian Football League. A ton. Really, really cool people that are playing the game, coaching the game, around the game. Just need to make that a focus. I know it's not going to turn into money and attention right away, but put it out at scale, and eventually people will catch on.
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't not checked yet if these CFL games tonight or tomorrow's, when they're on CBS Sports Network. But for those that weren't watching an hour ago, where we put a ton of time into this weekend's Canadian Football League games. We gave a ton of time. But I will probably drive down to Plantation, Florida, because why wouldn't I? And go watch my good friend Matt DeBuck's Cardinal Gibbons High School Chiefs against American Heritage. They have a huge rivalry. The place is going to be jammed. I went there last year. I literally walk around feeling like I'm in a movie. I feel like I'm in a damn movie. It's just Friday night to them.
Yeah.
So I'd rather be there live. And I will just say this, because we've talked a lot of ball today. Well, now, for one, Allie in Texas, she's been gracious to stick with us because she's a hockey fan, but this is at her own peril. We said it was going to be a football Friday, so she knew what she was getting into. But she refers, I got to get the exact clip here, or exact quote. She says, America's team. She goes, but I think they have the wrong Dallas team. I'll let you in on a little secret. With my dad working for Dallas for 26 years for the Stars hockey team, they don't get along. The Cowboys and the Stars don't get along. And I don't know whether that would surprise you or not. Just to say it again, the difference between America and Canada, not one company in a big city owns all the teams. Like Calgary, like Toronto, like everywhere else. They fight with each other. There's competition in the market to get people's attention, which is what they tell me in Calgary is why the Stamps have fallen off the radar ever since the Flames bought the Stamps. Attendance went down, and nobody's doing anything about it. By the way, Nelson writes in and says, just the Riders game is on CBS Sports Network. Everything else is on CBS Plus this week. CFL Plus. Allie says, I always try to watch y'all. Thank you, Allie. Appreciate you for doing that. BW from Edmonton writes in. He says, I'm hoping to go to my first American high school football game tonight in Williston, North Dakota. 0-5 Williston versus 0-4 Legacy. Go, Coyotes, go. Oh, and Allie says it doesn't surprise me at all, to be honest. LOL. And really getting a glimpse into why it's the Rod Pedersen Show and not Sports Center today, Darren, or any other show. And I also want to talk about Stephen A. Smith one-hopping his opening pitch at the Yankees game last night, or whatever. It was last night, right? Maybe 2 nights ago. But with the Cowboys, the Stars, I'm trying to remember how it worked. Nally, maybe you remember. You're down there. But the Cowboys trolled the Stars. It was like there was a Stars game on TV or something. And the Cowboys tweeted, "Why would you watch a Stars hockey game?" And for no reason but to just be bullies. They took a shot at the Dallas Stars. And this is when Romo was still playing for the Cowboys, so it's been a while. And the Stars tweeted back and said, "At least our number 9 got it done." And it was a photo of Modano holding the Stanley Cup over his head, unlike Tony Romo, who couldn't get it done. And I was like, oh, boy. And all those Dallas guys who are friends of mine, they're not with Dallas anymore, the Stars, which this is the point that I was getting at. Told you I'd land the plane. We've been flying at 35,000 feet for quite some time. Hope they're having a comfortable flight, Moose. But the Tampa Bay Lightning are getting rid of longtime people. I learned it on the weekend watching them in Estero, Florida at the rookie tournament. Julian Brisebois, the general manager, is getting rid of all Yzerman guys. I think you brought up Steven Stamkos was an Yzerman guy, and maybe Brisebois just isn't the biggest fan. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it happens. So I look at the Dallas Stars with Allie, and I don't need to name names. Those hockey people know who they are. But all those people, Mike Modano's working for the damn Minnesota Wild. Does that seem right to you? And I think he's living in Dallas, but he might not. But all those guys from that era, when my dad was there, are all gone. Why the hell would I cheer for him? Yet my niece Sydney is a Stars fan because that was Grandpa's team, and that's also fine too. Cheer for whoever the hell you want, but can you at least understand why I might not cheer for a team? I don't know anybody. I mean, I'm just used to knowing them. Does that make sense?
No, it makes a lot of sense. And how often do you even hear those guys from 99? The players, around that team. I don't hear it very much, if at all. And we're talking about Modano, but we're talking about Jamie Langenbrunner and Darian Hatcher and Dana Zuber. Was it Zubris on the back end?
Yep. No, I don't think he was there. Darian Hatcher, Sergei Zubov.
Thank you. Sergei Zubov. That's who I'm thinking.
Number 56.
On the back end. Yeah, all these guys, right?
I got you.
Nieuwendyk was a part of that team.
Yeah.
So you got to keep those guys engaged in the franchise for sure.
Do you have to? Because they don't. That's the whole point. From Ryan on radio, WQEE. Thanks for paying attention, Ryan. Oh, that's what I wanted to talk about. He goes, "Can we get some more peanuts?" LOL. That's from Ryan on radio. Did you mean popcorn? What? Why would he? I don't know what he mean. I always miss what they're getting at.
Could be.
Can we get some more peanuts
in the baseball park?
Yeah, they must be. Number 1, Stephen A. Smith one-hopped it at the Yankees game the other night. And just so you know, I've done that. I threw out the first pitch at a Red Sox game. You're literally just trying to get it over the plate. We're not here for velocity. We're here for not making a fool out of ourselves. How do you feel about Stephen A. one-hopping it on his first pitch the other night?
When you said that about 2 or 3 minutes ago, that you were going to talk about it, my mind went into me being on the mound, and I got nervous just sitting in this chair thinking about it. Because you're right. The whole job is just get it over the plate. Don't put it in the dugout. Don't hop it twice in there, right? And so, hey, that could be nerve-wracking for the best of us. I can't even imagine. I'll never laugh at somebody who one-hops it to the plate because that's nerve.
No, me either. I'm not laughing at Stephen A. It's a mental thing. I've talked to you about when the Pats asked me to come participate in the skills competition. And I'm like, I don't want to do that, but you know me, I'll do anything pretty much that I'm asked, but I'm also at a point now where I'm not doing this crap anymore. and it's not their fault, it's mine. It's because I have the mind of you don't even want to know. And I was coming around the third turn, wiped out, went into the corner boards, which incidentally, Cale Makar did the same thing here at the All-Star game last year, which the whole crowd went, at least the hockey fans. But I'm like, I don't want to do this. Why do you guys ask? If I wanted to be on the bench, I could have been on the bench coaching. I don't want to do that. I want to be the broadcaster. Why do they keep asking? Because my parents were athletes and I was built like one. People think I want to be one. I don't. And also, Ryan O'Radio in Atlanta, I listened to him. His voice was bad. B-A-D. Bad to the point that he put on a replay the one day. I was paying attention, Ryan. Do you have a story where you really, really, really lost your voice and in broadcasting and it was a problem?
No, I've had, games where I'm, battling throughout the night, but I've never had an issue where I've really lost it and went on the air and couldn't speak. I've always battled through. Yeah, but I've been close. I've been really close. And you get nervous when that happens. You?
Yeah. 17,000 hours logged on air in my life. You think I might have had a sore throat at some point? Yes. I get what you're saying. You know that I have.
Yeah.
But it always happens in the biggest moments. And this is why I'll wrap this up because I'm sure we have Shayne McGowan ready to go. But 2001 Memorial Cup, Canadian Major Junior Championship. Thrill of a lifetime for me to be broadcasting the Memorial Cup. But like an idiot, here's me, Darren, emceeing every frickin' event. The opening night banquet, the damn parade, doing morning sports, calling games every night. Guess what happened by the weekend? Couldn't talk. And our absolute jackwagon owner, who accused me of being out partying every night. I'm like, I didn't have freaking time. I was working 24 hours a day for you. Were you not paying attention? Hot damn. But I'm over it. That's just one time that it happened, but that's the one that always comes to mind. You wouldn't want to be in bed saving your voice. No, you want to be out working all week. Anyways, Moose, bye-bye. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, have a good weekend. You too.
Thanks. Going to Winnipeg next. It's a Football Friday on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
2 million liters of power creates electricity. Electricity creates.
Casino.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, Football Friday continues here on the marvelous Game Plus television, which across Manitoba is Bell MTS Channel 1190. We're all across Canada and 31 U.S. states. America, actually the home of our next guest, Shayne McGowan, but he's been in Canada for quite some time. Cup of coffee in the CFL, played at USC. You think, Shayne McGowan, I forgot, but I haven't. How you doing, big man? Mental strength coach, by the way, in Winnipeg. What's up, big fella?
I'm doing fabulous. How are you down there in Boca Raton?
It's good, man. Waiting for you to come visit. I can tell you that for free. Hey, I should have sent you a text or two to say, what do you want to talk about? Because you and I generally sit and talk for hours. So the very first thing that popped into my mind, because Shayne is a mental strength coach dealing with a variety of athletes, plus corporations, businesses, and all that. But here's one. The first thing that popped into my head, Shayne, is this. The Argos, their fans are worried that at 11-1, they've clinched too soon. First place, and now the games aren't going to mean anything the rest of the way. How would you deal with that? Is that a legitimate worry?
Of course, it's a legitimate worry because Winnipeg goes through that same thing as well themselves. You know, how many times has the Bombers, well, they can clinch it now, and everyone says the same thing. That might be a little too soon. You know, are they going to still play aggressively moving forward and everything like that? So I think in Toronto's case, because this is all brand new, you got a hot team out there. You got a hot quarterback that's able to make some things happen. I really like how Chad Kelly's playing. There's no question about that. And I think Coach Dinwiddie's got these guys firing. But again, too, there's also going to be a little bit like when you had Jim on earlier there talking about he picked Toronto to make it all the way. And I'm not questioning that at all. But does Dinwiddie there have those guys in check, in control, to make sure that come these next 6 games that they still got to play, how are we going to function in the playoffs? You know, and this is number one. This is key. Not worrying about injuries, but how are we doing up here? Are we still focused? Are we still gung-ho? And can we take care of this? And like I said, they're rolling pretty good. But this test is going to be very big for them against Hamilton. There's no question about that.
Okay, well, I guess I look at it differently than most, as do you, because I think we look at it the same way. I'm like, it's not a problem if you deal with it properly, because it is a mental issue. But I forget that not every team does deal with the mental side properly, correct? Now, I'm not saying Toronto won't, but that's why it could be a threat.
Exactly. And look, as we heard earlier, Ottawa's having their own little problems in-house at certain things, right? Saskatchewan's been all over the place, up and down, and things like this too. So you're right. Not every team is dealing with it the way they should, but there are coaches that have been around long enough, and I think in good organizations, to say, hey, listen, this is the way we got to take it. This is the way we got to move forward with it. Players got to trust the process, because look at where it's gotten you so far, 11-1. You got to trust the process and what we're doing, and that's huge. And even this week when you had Adam Dickhill on, I mean, he said the same thing. When you come to Winnipeg, there's a protocol. You got to fit in. You got to be able to understand how we are and what we are here to do, and that is to win. That's our focus. No different. But there are some teams that don't take this very seriously, and you're starting to see that now that we are in, as you guys have said earlier, playoff weeks. I mean, this is now all about playoffs right now. Edmonton, Calgary, Saskatchewan, these guys are all in playoff mode sets. They got to get their stuff happening.
Okay, well, that was my question. Was clinching too soon? It's like scoring too soon, leaving too much time on the clock. Play defense, you'll be fine. What's on your mind? What? Because you're a football guy, what's your focus this weekend?
Focus is always control. You got to be in control at all times. Look we all know the CFL. Anything can happen in the last 2 minutes of the game. There's no question about that, and we've seen that in so many ways. These games that are coming up, they're very exciting in many ways. As a coach, you want to have that control. As that quarterback in every team, you want to have that control and say, let me be in control of how we're going to run the ball, pace the time, I guess you could say, with the throws and everything like that. Defense has to come out and play aggressive. Every defense needs to start playing a lot more aggressive out there and make sure that they can get the ball back in time for these teams to get out there and do their thing. So like I said, it's all about control. But again, you got to trust the process. But you're also, I think, going to see now, as we start getting into the, playoff mode, defenses are going to start scheming a little bit differently now too. You're not going to see that same old run-of-the-mill of what we saw before. Just like offenses are going to throw out a few extra little hitches just to kind of say, as we move into conference and playoffs mentality and stuff like that, we need to change it up a little bit. You've been stagnant now for past 12 games. We got to change it up. So I'm expecting a little bit more faster pace on some of these games too.
Who are you speaking of specifically?
I think Toronto needs to be a lot faster. Like if we're talking about this week and stuff, I'm saying Toronto's going to be faster. I think Edmonton is also going to try to play fast as well too, and keep that momentum going the way they have offensively wise. But these are the things. Calgary is just like very flat. I mean, let's just call it as it is. They are just flat out there. They can't find that rhythm that they want to be in. And I think that's more frustrating for the players naturally, but the coaches as well, because they've got something in plan of what they want to do, but it is not working in their favor.
Well, hey, it's the home stretch. And I don't try to be a coach of a team, and we're going to get into the mental strength coaching in a second. But I'm just sitting there watching these games as a fan. Last week, BC scored 20 points in 2 minutes and 6 seconds. Edmonton scored 10 points in 80 seconds. Boys, you got to play 60 minutes. Does that not just taking your eye off the ball? I mean, I love the comebacks, but they can be prevented, right?
Oh, most definitely. You know what I mean? And like you said, is that if I'm going to score that many points in such a short time, you better be consistent and keep scoring it. Or your defense better be able to stop them each and every time out there. And we know that's not happening, right? Again, you start taking your foot off the gas. You know what I mean? You start playing a little bit more conservative. You start doing certain things, and all of a sudden that backfires, because if you're the team behind, you got nothing to lose but to go out there and give it everything you got, right? So that's going to cause a little bit of chaos. Then you got to still figure out what type of penalties are going to come, because there are going to be penalties and things are going to go not in your favor. So like I said, the pace of the game, I'm expecting it to be quicker, but I'm also expecting it to be, as I said, time-wise, coaches are in control of the time, and the players, the quarterback especially, be in control. I like Zach Collaros for that, because I do think he is one of those guys that can do that on a continuous basis. I think a few of these other quarterbacks get a little too rattled at certain times, and they can't control it like that, and then they start panicking way too much.
Shayne, let me just ask you this in the time we have left. the services you provide and how teams or individuals, parents can get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can reach me at mentaledgeperformance.ca, as well as all my social media here at mental_edge_performance. You know what I mean? Like I said, I've been doing this with every league in the business, and from the grassroots all the way to the pros. You know what I mean? And it's about getting you prepared to that next level and how you want to succeed. And that's all it is.
Shayne, keep in touch, my man. Always good to see your face. Appreciate the time. Let's do it again.
Always, Roddy. Have a great weekend, buddy.
He's a football guy, but a mental strength coach, Shayne McGowan. Good friend of mine. Sports update coming up. Overtime, which is always fun. It's a lot of people's favorite segment of the show. It's right after this brief break, our last of the week on Game Plus TV, WQEE, podcast, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Hi, my name's Logan Stanko.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
It's overtime, and it's proudly brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. You can find them on 28th Street Northeast. And I just got a message from Randy at Overtime Lanes. Coming soon, his term, I got to look at it. I would call it foos hockey, like foosball meets hockey. What'd you call it, Randy? Foosky. Foosky. So just imagine foosball meets hockey. They're calling it Foosky at Overtime Hockey Lanes. I love it. Growth, expansion, change. It's always a good thing. At least I think that it is. And I got to say, I wasn't going to hold up Shayne McGowan and make that interview go any longer than it needed to be. But so he's a mental strength coach. He's great for teams, individual players. Parents get a hold of him. And I do the exact same thing in recovery coaching. I had a guy call me today, one of my clients. And I said, I don't have a lot of time. We were about to go to air, but he was like, I'm dealing with this, this, and this. What do I do? I'm like, you need to do this, this, and this. Okay, thanks. Bye. Monthly client. He's been with me quite a long time, and who wouldn't want help like that? And that's why I don't get it's a panic that the Argos are going to clinch too soon. No, it's not. Not for that coaching staff. That's what you've been playing all year for to get, and then you get there and it's a problem? It doesn't make any sense at all. And like this Kirk, that's the other thing. I love you, Kirk. You're a part of the Rod Squad you watch every day, but he asked me to ask Jim Barker if he thinks the Argos are still going to the Grey Cup. Quote, some of us Argos fans are nervous with the possibility of meeting Hamilton in the Eastern. What did I tell you? Being nervous is like rocking in a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it doesn't get you anywhere. What are you nervous about? Why? He not listening, Rod, move on. You're saying this is what we do. Who wouldn't want help like that? And then you just take life as it comes. Hey, there's news on this Friday. Michael Andlauer has officially been introduced as the new owner of the Ottawa Senators. Andlauer addressed the media at the Canadian Tire Center a day after the NHL made his purchase of the club official. This was today, I'm assuming. It feels good, Andlauer said as he slipped on a Senators jersey. The NHL announced late Thursday the transfer of the club to a group led by Andlauer had been unanimously approved by the league's Board of Governors. Andlauer took control of the Sens operations immediately. The sale price for the Senators was $950 million U.S., the highest amount ever paid for an NHL team. And you know all the other NHL owners are just going, If Ottawa can get that, what would the Rangers get? Which, of course, they're never going to sell them anyways. But it just drives up the values. Placeline Charlotte. Andy Dalton will start for the Carolina Panthers at quarterback on Sunday against the Seattle Seahawks after rookie Bryce Young was ruled out with a sprained ankle. Jake Luton will serve as Carolina's backup quarterback. Panthers head coach Frank Reich said Young is expected to miss 1 to 2 weeks, meaning his status for the team's Week 4 game against Minnesota is uncertain. Reich said he's still optimistic Young might play against the Vikings after the progress he has made with his rehab. This sports update is for Common Crown Brewing. They have the perfect craft beer for your enjoyment. They're out of Calgary, Alberta, and a winner of Canada's top craft brewer as well. They feature their core 5, Good Company Hazy Pale Ale, Common Crown Crafted Lager, Journeyman IPA, Brewmaster Blonde Ale, and Coppersmith Brown Ale, 4 of which sit below 5% ABV, making them the ideal beer for your everyday common affair. And to the text line we go. 902-518-3033, EMJ Marketing text line. EMJ Marketing will provide the perfect keynote speaker for your event. Contact them and look up Joe at emjmarketing.com. Brian in Hudson Bay, the Moose capital, writes that he says, another great Football Friday. It has been, hasn't it? Thank you, Brian, for saying so. We covered all the leagues. That was a successful day. We covered everything. And Monty, who's watching on streaming, wrote in and asked if I was going to the Blue Jays. If I'm not going to, they're at Tampa tonight. If I don't want to drive 3.5 hours to watch the Buccaneers and the Eagles on Monday Night Football, I'm damn sure not driving to 3.5 hours to Tampa to watch the Blue Jays. But I appreciate you asking. So on the 3.5 hour drive thing, Brian in Hudson Bay says, Roddy, 3.5 hour trips brings me back to my 10 years of Rough Riders season tickets. Oh, well, O'Day and Reynolds have taken care of that for me. Now all I have to do is shut the TV off. LOL. For me, hey, Allie in Texas says, great football Friday. Have a great weekend, Al. You too, Allie. Jen at the Four Seasons says, go Pats, go Riders. Have a fabulous weekend, everyone. And go Packers. We did play NFL Deal or No Deal earlier. I didn't get to all the audience's picks on the games, but I appreciate those that did write in and for playing. We ran down the dub schedule for tonight. College football, Wisconsin at Purdue, NC State at Virginia, Boise State at San Diego State, Air Force at San Jose State. I'll be going to high school football tonight, probably coming back to watch the second half of the Riders and the Red Blacks, but my guy, Matt DeBuck's team's on the road. Cardinal Gibbons at American Heritage. Big rivalry game there in Plantation, Florida. How great would it be to be there? From 777 Blu-ray says, great show, Rod. Keep up the good work. That's to everybody, our entire crew. Brian in Beausejour, Manitoba says, another win for the RP show. Still undefeated. And from Ryan O Radio, my brother from another mother, my spirit animal in this business, Ryan O'Radio in Atlanta, says, another great RP show. Check them out, everybody. WQEE, they've got the best programming there. If you love sports, I got to say, and they got the best announcers, too. Oh, wait, that includes us because we're on there. And Ryan, too, the host of the Radio Penitentiary every morning. Enjoy the sports. Stay safe. As Jerry Springer used to say, be good to yourselves and each other. And we'll see you Monday at noon Eastern and 5 Eastern here on Game Plus and The Key.
McFly, hello.